So all of a sudden, the coup that happened last week in Guinea has sent shockwaves in sub-Saharan Africa, especially in Uganda. It must have scared Museveni the hell out of him. How about we break down Museveni's interview with France 24 and expose his lies as well as his incoherent arguments? So, Museveni condemned the coup in Guinea, saying it is a step backwards and that they had them in the 60s. Here is a video of the interview and how it went down on France 24 on this particular issue.
President, I want to begin with the situation in Guinea. Just a few days ago, a coup overthrew the elected president, Alpha Condé. What is your reaction?
Well, that's unfortunate. It is a step backwards. Those military coups are of no value. We had them in the 1960s. They were part of Africa's problems. So I condemned the coup. We don't accept the idea of coups. Those coups are not a solution.
Should there be sanctions against the authors?
Yes, they should get out. They should be told to go away because they are not a solution to.
Unless the interviewer had an agenda, I'm really surprised that he did not push hard on this particular issue. And I'll cover all the other issues in the next episodes. I guess he must have thought that Museveni's coming to power was through peaceful elections in 1986 and that Uganda has completely no history. If the journalist had researched and prepared well, he would have pushed harder on 2 points. 1. How did Museveni come to power in relation to Guinea? 2. What are the conditions that led to the coup in the first place in Guinea in relation to Museveni? Let me explain. Museveni came to power through a much more brutal methods than Colonel Doumbouya, who led the coup in Guinea recently. Approximately 100 to 500,000 people, including combatants as well as children and civilians, died across because of the bush war that brought Museveni to power. Museveni was trying to oust Obote, but both Museveni and Obote proved to be more brutal and killed more people than Amin, both combined. In fact, not both combined, but each. In a sense that Obote's regime killed more people than Amin, while Museveni's means of capturing power killed more people than Amin's coup. That is a fact, because no one died when Amin overthrew Obote. However, plenty died when Museveni overthrew Obote, close to 500,000. Now, the same can be said for Guinea. No one died when the coup happened, although some estimates have said that 11 people actually died, or might have died during the scuffle. Even so, you cannot compare 11 to 500,000 people. You can't compare them. Now, one time, a gentleman known as Norbert Mao, the leader of the Democratic Party, he said that when you go into a football match, right, and one team wins, a team that scores more goals is a team that wins, right? He was making that analogy in comparison with the Bush War that happened after 1986, saying that if it is Museveni that won the war and became president, so the biggest chunk of the 500,000 people that died during that particular war, it is Museveni that must have killed them because he won the war. So that means that he killed more people. That is according to Norbert Mao, the president of the Democratic Party, and that was his analogy. I will leave it to that so that you can think for yourself. So let's go back to the interview. Now, the interviewer should have posed a question asking which of the two was the lesser of two evils, the one that led to the death of over 500,000 people, or the one that killed nobody while capturing power. Second point. In fact, this should have come first. What actually causes coups in the first place, especially in Africa? For Museveni, he says Obote had rigged the 1980 elections, of which in fact Museveni had come in third with just 170,000 votes. He wasn't first, he wasn't second, but he came in third with less than 5% of the votes. If anyone had the justification of challenging the results in any way, it should have been Paul Kawanga Semogerere, who decided not to pursue the challenge. He had actually come in second. He had actually won the election, but was cheated by Obote. So he was placed second. But General Museveni, who was unpopular and unknown and not known or unknown by anyone, headed for the bush, leading to a bloodbath of Ugandans for just rigging and for just a person who came in third. Now back to Guinea. Kano Doumbouya cited corruption, mismanagement, and bad governance as the reasons for his coup. Now the reason Doumbouya's coup was also popular among masses is simply because that Alpha Conde amended the constitution to award himself a third term. Nepotism was rampant, whereby Conde was favoring people from his own ethnic group, known as the Malinke, as well as he had stolen the elections, and excessive corruption. So the interviewer would have pressed hard on the issues that led to the coup than just mere asking a statement from Museveni about the coup. It is just like asking someone, what is your take about people who are obese or fat, without actually looking into the factors that lead to people becoming obese or fat. For example, unhealthy lifestyle, which entails the lack of exercise and unhealthy eating. The other reason as to why someone would not ask such questions is because maybe the person being interviewed, he is obese himself, and you wouldn't want to offend them by commenting on their unhealthy lifestyle, and in this case, Museveni. What I mean is that the same conditions that led to the coup in Guinea are exactly the same things that Museveni does to Uganda. Nepotism, rewriting the constitution, stealing elections, as well as beating opponents into submission. So Museveni has no moral authority to condemn the coup, but should just wait for his turn, because he has refused to change and reform as an individual. You know what hurts African leaders and autocrats the most about such coups? It is the reality that most of the coups come from within, not outside their coalition. And what is painful is that the people they trust the most are the ones standing against them, leaving them paranoid with no one to trust. What is funny is that African leaders are slow to condemn the mistreatment of Africans by their leaders, as well as breaking laws. In fact, we have leaders on the continent who are actually rewarding destructive behavior. The same leaders condemning the coup in Guinea did not call out Museveni when he amended the constitution. When his forces killed over 60 people in November last year, none of them said a word. None. The same applies to Conde. When he amended the constitution in 2018 to run for a third term, they didn't say a single word. Now that he is gone, they are likely to suffer the same fate. All of a sudden, they have now woken up to condemn the coup, ignoring the reasons leading to the coup. So Museveni's opinion does not matter at all, since the conditions that led to Conde's coup are precisely similar to those in Uganda. Literally, he cannot critique himself, saying that these are the same conditions that I went through, so the coup is justified, or the coup should have been done in a completely different way, or this and that. He should have actually cheered the coup because no one died. The interviewer simply saw an obese man that he simply did not want to insult by asking him about his unhealthy lifestyle. That's the only way I can sum up that segment of the interview. I'll discuss more other segments in the next episodes. Thank you very much for listening and watching this particular episode. If you enjoyed it, leave a comment, give the video a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and also subscribe to the other channel of ours called In Africa. See you in the next one. Bye-bye.